Imagine a young man being hit on, beat on by a woman. And really, this can go to any demographic of male, whether you are young, teen, older, middle-aged. You can apply this to yourself. But just imagine this young girl hitting, beating, scratching, spitting, kicking, punching this young boy, this young man. And if he ever turned around and knocked her head off, just punched her really hard, it'll be the end of the world. We're automatically going to have to consider that she is a girl and he is stronger and he has more muscle mass. Where are the consequences for these young girls? I'm not condoning violence. But why are girls, females, allowed to beat up on men with no consequence? Imagine the struggle that a man has to deal with, a teen boy has to deal with. Knowing that he has the strength to completely knock this girl out because they are stronger than us women. Men are stronger. They're faster. They can do way more damage. But imagine he has this power and this strength, but because you are a female and because of who you are and because he cares about you and because he was raised right, all he's doing is trying to keep you away from him. And what are you doing? You're attacking him. You're scratching him. You're biting him. You're pulling his hair. You're doing all these things to him. And he is in the situation of having to defend himself, but he cannot really protect himself the way that he can against you because you or these girls are females. And now he has to use judgment in having enough to keep you away from him while protecting himself, that fight or flight adrenaline that's kicking in, and keeping that at bay and having control of that and having control of his strength and trying to keep you off enough not to hurt him and at the same time trying to protect himself. Let's think about all the things that he's going through. And yet women, you're not thinking about anything. Those of you that's doing this, young girls, you're just hitting him and scratching him because he's supposed to be able to just take that. Because he's stronger and because he's bigger. He's supposed to allow you to act like an underground hyena, a let loose giraffe, behave a certain way with him. And he has to remember that you are a lady. And he has to remember that you are weaker than him. While you exert yourself and abuse him. You see, guys, that's why you need sisters and mothers. Give us a call. Because we're not going to play with you. Because now it's even. And a lot of you, you're not going after women because you know that you try a woman, we have no other choice but to give you a two-piece and put you in your place. And it's not going to be looked at as abuse. You see, but some of you, you like to go after older women too. You're young. You're trying like the student that was fighting a teacher. And the teacher defends herself and, oh, it's a child. She's a child. What is that teacher supposed to do exactly? Just stand there and let a child beat her? It's no longer about child violence. There's no demographic. There's no age when it comes to violence and someone doing harm. If you're doing violence and you are inflicting pain and hurt on someone, age goes out the window. Keep in mind, I am not telling anyone to go out there and inflict violence and do things, but when you are being attacked, no one is thinking about how old someone is and what sex that they are. But sons, young men, turn the buck over to your sister, to your mother, to your aunts. And now, I would say I'm not going to go anywhere and go beat up anybody, but I sure will call 911. But I rest assured that you're not going to run up on me and just hit me and nothing's going to happen to you. I'm not going to say, oh, you're only 12. Don't attack people. Don't step into that arena. Because when you're attacking people, age goes out the window. When you're committing violence, your sex goes out the window. Your height, your build goes out the window. You're putting yourself at risk, and you're going to run into that guy that's not going to care. And not only will he beat you, he may really take your life. Young ladies, you have to deal with that issue and that pain that you have going on. Because a lot of you were abused, you were neglected, you may not even have been physically abused. Some of you have, but others, you've been treated very badly. And what do? You go find a nice guy. You go find that patient guy. So you can practice displacement. Imagine what that young man goes through. Imagine what that man is going through. Having full knowledge that he can just totally annihilate you on the spot. But then because he cares for you, but because he loves you, but because he has been brought up with respect, he has to consider you while at the same time trying to protect himself. And some of you, that's not even enough. If he just holds your wrist to keep you from hitting him, you start to scream, you start to carry on, and then you run and call the police and say that he is abusing you. Young men, be very careful of these type of women. They're going to come off being really nice and very sweet in the beginning to get you in. But listen carefully to her history. Listen carefully to what she's telling you about what her life was like. And the very first time that she touches you, call the cops. The very first time she hits you, call the police. Don't keep secrets. Don't stand there and let her abuse you.
And record this stuff. Have a secret recording, whether it's an audio, download that app. That way you have evidence when she tries to turn the table on you.
Women like this thrive off of secrecy. And you not telling on them. You better call 911, dial 911, because as her violence will increase and accelerates against you, it's going to get worse. And what she's going to do, she's going to sit here and behave in a way, what she's going to do is try to beat you to the punch and go and tell the police. And then your life is all over. Don't listen to her talking about she's going to take her life or whatever she's going to do. That's the more reason why you need to report it, because you can't afford to be the one that's responsible for her and her life. Women, keep your hands to yourself. Stop hitting these men. I would give you a pass in a sense of sometimes you could be with someone who is a man who's so toxic and who is so much of an antagonist, and he hurts you so much, and you stick around with him so much, and he continues to hurt you and disrespect you, that you may have a moment that you just lose your control, and you're crying and you're screaming and you're hitting and you're punching. And I understand that. It's not justified, ladies, but I understand that. How a man could really hurt you and hurt you to the point that you're screaming and crying and you're breaking things and you want to hit him. But when you're with that type of person, you need to leave him alone. Don't ever, the minute he caused you to step out of character like that, you leave him alone. Because regardless of what he's doing, you have no right to hit him. But when you hit that wall and you do that, that's when you realize you have got to go. And I'm talking about in cases where you're with an extremely toxic type of man who hurts you over and over again, lies to you over and over again, provokes you, do things, hurts you, abuses you. Yes, I get that. And a lot of times he's abusing you mentally, not physically. You got to get help and stop that. But those of you that like to go around hitting men and beating up boys, you're going to run into that one man that's going to cave your whole forehead in because he doesn't care, who will end your life. Women out there taunting, speaking disrespectfully to men, you have to be careful because they're extremely dangerous people out in the world. And a lot of times what it is, you go through your life practicing and doing things to these soft, gentle guys that's really respectful to women and should be. But it's going to prepare you for that one guy who has that brute beast mentality, who he's not going to hit you, he's going to chop. He's not going to hit you, he's going to do worse to you. So stop it and get the help that you need. Imagine the struggle that young man has to go through, trying to protect himself and not harm you at the same time, while there's no holds barred with you. If you're being violent and you're beating up on him, you're most likely a victim of violence. And you have got problems. But you can get the help that you need. And it's not by hitting anybody's son. Because I'm telling you, I have 2 sons. And you put your hands on my son, we're going to have a problem. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call whoever I need to call. But if you step to me like you're trying to attack me, you're trying to hit me, I'm not going to be my son. And as I said to people in the past, listen, young men, young women, stop running up and trying to fight adults, especially those of you that's in school. Stop doing that. Because there's no book, there's nothing that says that I have to think about how old you are when you're physically attacking me, when you're physically causing harm to me, when you are inflicting hurt and pain on top of me, towards me. What that person is going to do, they're going to try to keep you off of them. But if you attack them, they're not supposed to stand there and just let you beat on them. That is violence. That is breaking the law. And I'll say to teachers, y'all need to start dialing 911. When these kids are acting up and getting froggy and shifting into their little Hulk persona, dial 911. I personally believe that. And that's what I tell my children. Listen, call the police. You're not going to bully my child. I'm going to press charges because you're going to learn your lessons. What lessons are we teaching young people when they can beat up and hit people and do whatever they want to do and there are no consequences? They need to learn the consequences now. Being booked, being put away. And maybe they can still change because now they're going to grow into these knuckle beasts that's going around in society, breaking into your house, tormenting your children at work. It does not change. Ladies, get the help that you need. And it is enough of this thing where young men and boys are just being brushed off to the side and, oh, it's no big deal if she hits you. Yes, it is. What do you mean it's no big deal if she hits you? What if she turn around and come slap you in your face? Is it going to be no big deal then? Are you going to laugh about it? Is it going to be okay? And a lot of you that you think it's okay for women to beat you up, maybe because you grew up in a violent house, you think that's okay. No one wants anyone putting their hooves on them. That is not all right. It is a sign of severe instability. And that person needs to get the help that they need so when they're angry, they don't just go with that rage and that feeling and lash out. And guess what? They have control because a lot of times they're not doing that stuff in front of other people. They wait until they get home. They wait until you're alone. So there is some self-control. So it's a choice. Ladies, stop hitting these young boys. And young men, get away from these women. I'm not going to say to hit them. Don't do it. But you need to dial 911. You need to let your family know about it. Let her family know about it. Let your teacher know about it. And cut her off. I don't care what she's trying to tell you about her childhood and how she's going to hurt herself. That's not your problem. Because the minute you get into that arena with her of whenever she says she's going to hurt herself, you stay with her. You're setting yourself up. Because God forbid she really does it, you're going to blame yourself for the rest of your life. You can't afford that burden. You can't afford that guilt. You can't afford to carry that load. Learn to tell. All right, guys. Thank you for watching my channel. Peace.